The game is on in Amazing Spider-Man number 17, and Kraven has hostages. What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is going to be an irate review, and we're going to be talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 17, written by Nick Spencer with art by Humberto Ramos. And this is going to be a continuation of the Hunted storyline. In 16.HU and 16 previously, we saw the kidnapping of Billy Connors, the son of the Lizard, as well as the Black Cat. And now, Spider-Man is going to have to do something about that. But are we going to be having this take place inside New York City? Let's dive in and see what's up in the Hunted. While last issue in Amazing Spider-Man number 16, Ryan Ottley and Nick Spencer gave us the background of Kraven the Hunter and what he's really hoping to achieve. And then in 16.HU, we got the interactions of Black Cat, where we fleshed out more of her character and how she ended up in this scenario. But in number 17, things are about to get a little bit more serious. We open up in an almost classic environment that seems to pay homage to Kraven's Last Hunt, an earlier series back from the 1980s, where we actually saw Kraven come to his final conclusion across Web of Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, as well as the Amazing Spider-Man. And this just gives us an idea of how the man who once was is no longer that same person. He was once a beast, he was once a terror, he was a hunter, but now he's just a shadow of his former self, resurrected and brought back to a world that he doesn't understand, a world that he despises. He sees no dignity in the world. He yearns for the death that he once had, but not yet. So while he stands in front of his empty casket and pulls out his lion's mane, his plan is about to go into action. But Spider-Man is the part of this plan that he does not necessarily have yet. And what is up with Spider-Man? Spider-Man, when we last saw him, was receiving a spider tracer that he had given to Felicia Hardy and was getting downloaded the information that was necessary. She had found a lizard boy, she needs help, he needs to go rescue her, so he goes to the final last location. And what is he thinking about this entire time? He knows he's sick as a dog, but he's thinking about Billy Connors. He's thinking about all the various villains and animal-themed individuals that have been captured. He didn't necessarily know why there were some of these targets or why they were given some of the targets, but now he understands. They got the Black Cat, and there's something much larger at work, so he has to find a solution and go and save, well, everybody that he possibly can. But Felicia has her own questions. She's always been kind of an individual. She's always been out on her own. She's never really been one to team up, and she doesn't even like kids. She didn't even like kids when she was a babysitter. But why did she go back? The reason wasn't because she was being soft. The reason was because she got careless. She got greedy. She got double-crossed. So now she finds herself in a situation where actually she's stored in a penthouse inside the Plaza Hotel, which could be worse, but now she has to care for this other individual and make sure that this young child is protected. And who do they need to be protected from? Well, Kraven seems to think that it's not him, as he walks in with his bright press suit, and it's just, he looks so sharp, but not quite as sharp as the laser bars that are currently inside the hotel. And while he has provided them some fantastic accommodations, Black Cat's enough of a film buff to know that Cary Grant in North by Northwest never had bars on his windows. But that's where the plan kind of unfolds, because Billy Connors had a weakness. He had a weakness. He wanted to feel what the outside world was like. He wanted to have friends. Felicia Hardy had a weakness, her avarice, her greed. She was looking to get just one big score, and Spider-Man has two weaknesses, and they're currently standing in the same room. A woman that he used to love, and a boy he's desperate to save, and that leads Peter into a trap. He's starting to hallucinate. He's starting to think about the death that's surrounding him. Losing Flash Thompson, losing Ned Leeds, and now he's thinking about MJ, and these green chemical trails start to flow into the chamber that he was in. A trap. He's let himself into something. Death, poisoning. No, this isn't Kraven's style. If Kraven was going to do anything, he would come to him himself. He would fight him in the flesh. There is no honor in just poisoning him and picking up the dead body. It is going to be a battle with their fists and ending in blood. And that's when we see the younger, cloned Kraven that was created by the High Evolutionary come to him, and now, definitely faster, much younger, much more spry, the battle between Spider and the Hunter is going to take place. Of course, in a Spider-Man comic, we're going to get a little bit of a witty repartee as we get a back and forth between the Spider-Man and Kraven, who steals a line from Bane, saying he was born in the darkness of these chemical mists. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that things are in motion. We've got Arcade watching over the various cryogenically sealed villains that they had captured, and the shield is now ready so that way they can encapsulate their hunting grounds. The people in the ballroom, the men and women of high society, they are ready for their show. The hunt is about to begin. But the one last trophy needs to be collected, and we can only assume that Spider-Man is the jewel of the trophy case. Of course, being sick, Spider-Man isn't really on his game, and that's something that's disappointing to this young Kravinoff. But he grabs a pipe, smashes him across the face, and ultimately is fighting back. He's just pummeling, beating him. He can see the blood come from his hands, but that blood is now a scream, and the scream is MJ's, and he's felt the vision. He's seen this future, this great worry of his, MJ, a broken window, blood on the ground, and that is an opportunity that Kraven is not going to take lightly, as he just pounds him in the face over and over and over again until he just slams him into the ground and he's no longer conscious. A screen of black, a single page of nothingness that just tells us the Spider-Man is incapacitated, and all this is going to take place without him. The streets are bustling, Spider-Man carried over the shoulder of Kraven, the cryogenically sealed villains getting loaded onto a truck and funneled into some sort of building, Taskmaster and Black Ant on watch. But as the hunt begins, the shield comes up, and this seems to be Central Park. Central Park is the area that they're at. The young clone Kraven has grabbed Spider-Man, and now he wakes up inside his black suit. So who changed him? Well, we know who it is, and now the young Kraven knows the identity of who's beneath the Spider-Man hood. But the more important thing isn't the fact that Peter Parker's now back in his symbiote Spider-Man suit, even though it's not necessarily a symbiote. It's the fact that he's surrounded by the various villains that he's fought for so many years and for so long. The Scorpion, Tarantula, and a whole host of others as they start to surround him inside Central Park. And of course, that's when all hell breaks loose. The Scorpion lunges in, trying to kill the man that he thinks is responsible for this. King Cobra and a variety of the other different villains are ready to just go to war with Spider-Man, but Spider-Man is smarter than this. Even though his head isn't clear and he's sick, he just thinks, this is Kraven. Kraven is not going to let anybody but himself kill me. So the reason that he's here for you, the reason that you are all surrounding me, is because he is after you as well. And that's when the first explosions happen. You hear the rat-a-tat-tat, the boom of various guns and weaponry that are currently assailing these villains as these robotic versions of Kraven emerge from the illuminated floodlights and start to tackle these various villains inside Central Park. The hunt is afoot, and the only question is who is controlling these robots. Are they autonomous, or are these people paying to play some sort of villainous hunting video game in a ballroom somewhere above New York City? And that's where we're going to end the true part one of the Hunted storyline. So while Kraven is a very unique version of himself, yearning for death, he realizes that this is a world that he no longer has a place in, but he has to carry out something in advance. He either has to create the ultimate hunter in his own clone son. He has to do something for society. He has to carry out some sort of plan, and we don't necessarily understand his motivations or his reasoning for going so corporate at this point in time, and we don't know why he's letting all these autonomous bots loose on these various villains. So that is a key point that we're going to have to find out over the course of the Hunted. And then we've got Felicia Hardy, as she's going to have to escape from this penthouse while protecting Billy Connors, and that is going to make a really interesting part of that story. And then we've got these various villains and how they're going to be interacting with these hunting robots that are out there to kill not only them, but Spider-Man as well. Is he going to be able to make his way through this chaos and find the people that he needs to save, or is something else going to happen? There's a lot of different threads that can be picked up inside the storyline, which makes it so interesting, and one of the reasons that I'm so stuck on it. Of course, the art is fantastic in my eyes. I love Humberto Ramos's interpretation of Spider-Man. He's got this very kind of accentuated and kinetic version of the character, and it really lends itself to various aspects of Spider-Man. So while he might be a little bit lanky, he's got that gymnastic kind of flow to his actions, and it's just great expressionism when it comes to these various characters. So I've always been a fan of Ramos and how he portrays the web-slinger. But I want to know what you guys think. Is Hunted a storyline that you're going to want to pick up, or is it something that you're going to kind of pass by? So hit me up in the comments down below, and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books and more.